Hey, so today we are taking a look at the Mazda RX Vision GT3 concept car. This is a very cool looking car. You can really see a lot of Mazda in the car, especially when it comes to the front bumpers and the headlights. They are squinting like crazy, but it makes the car look super mean. This is one of those cars that basically makes you speechless when you look at it and say, damn, I'd love to have that in my garage. I'd like to drive that around town. There's only one kind of downfall to it, and that is, if you really look at it closely, the amount of space between the bottom of the car and the ground, or the actual wheel well and the wheel itself. You can tell that this is a car that is definitely not made for the road, because there's no way you're going to get over a speed bump or a very elevated driveway. But then again, everyone lowers their car anyways, and it would probably get scraped up, and I can almost guarantee you that a Mazda RX Vision car, concept car, is not going to be cheap in real life if it ever exists. However, with the massive air intake in the hood, massive wheels what look to be well over 20 inches of rim, and probably only a couple of inches from the ground, this is definitely a car that you could really see yourself in. And I bet it is, I should say, a very fun car to drive in Gran Turismo. And I can almost guarantee you that this car will be in Gran Turismo 7, because of course it's in sport. The RX Vision might be an in-game only car, but a recent patent filing could hint that a real-life successor to the RX-7 and RX-8 sports cars are on their way, and it could definitely look like this type of car, this RX Vision car. Don't be surprised that this may actually turn out to be very similar to a car being released sometime in the near future, possibly. They may even call it an RX-9, which would be kind of interesting to say the very least. I would assume that the wheel wells would have to be larger, and I would also assume that the car would have to be a bit higher, but it would definitely be a very interesting rotary engine style car. That's what Mazda's kind of good at when it comes to sports cars. I'm not a huge fan of rotary engines, but I can definitely side with the fact that the RX-7s and 8s always looked kind of cool to me. And this RX Vision GT3 car definitely looks cool to me as well. However, whatever Mazda is planning for now, you can at least see the RX Vision in action in this game, Gran Turismo Sport, and of course in the future, Gran Turismo 7 most likely as well. So what are the thoughts on this car in Gran Turismo Sport? Well, the acceleration is okay. I would definitely give it, in my opinion, a 7 out of 10. The handling's not too bad either. I would definitely give it an 8 or 9 out of 10 versus other cars in Gran Turismo Sport. And as we can see in this game, it's definitely looking really cool to drive. The internals look really sick as well. And we are going to be breaking that down very soon. Now, while driving this car, there's a few things that I really need to mention, and that is turning and cornering. The cornering on this car is really good. However, there are a few tips I should give you. Number one is when you are coming up towards a turn, you should not be braking into the turn or during the turn. You are going to lose traction, of course, unless you play with the specifications of how this car drives. As a stock car with no modifications, there's a few things that you really need to pay attention to, and that is braking before the turn. When you go up towards that single or the double pylon into the single pylon, from the double pylon to the single pylon, brake. As soon as you get past that single pylon, that is your turning point. That is when you generally need to turn, and that's when you're going to need to turn into the corner. Now, you should not be braking anytime past that single pylon. Brake from the double pylon to the single hard, and then you're going to be able to make it through that turn. Now, that is a massive tip that I just gave you with this car, because if you brake during a turn, with most cars anyways, but this car really overemphasizes when you start braking during a turn, you really lose traction in the rear end. Of course, you could play with the specifications of this car. You can move the brake bias closer towards the front. that would be a great way to mitigate that. However, that is just something that I did notice. Another thing that I would really like to talk about is the interior of this car, and it is absolutely amazing. That left side has a huge blind spot, so keep that in mind. That wiper doesn't do any help either, but your rear view camera is, or your rear view mirror is down in the bottom right. I hope that you have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.